We felt more cramped and cooped up in Austin than San Diego or San Jose due to the bad weather and lack of public spaces. A 2,000 square foot house. It's a big deal, all right? There's this real sensitivity around, like, because look, this is a problem. This is how things work, right? There's all these people who have lived here for generations, and they're getting pushed out by very wealthy California people. They can't afford their property taxes. All the property value across the city is skyrocketing to absolutely ridiculous levels. Like, I told y'all, one of my neighbor's houses went on sale. What he was able to sell his little 1,000 square foot house for would make you puke in your own pants unless you're from California, and you would go, holy shit, that sounds great, and then immediately move your ass down here. In Texas, and especially in Austin, our almost entire housing market is now determined by Californians incoming. So this article went viral by a man named Brett Adler. It's actually not an article per se. It was published on Quora. So this is on Quora, and I'm just going to start to read it for you, okay? Because it's just, there's no real other way to explain it. Brett Adler, again, he's writing an article about moving from California to Texas, and the column title is, I moved my family from California to Austin, Texas, and regretted it.
Is Brett sad?
Here are 10 key points every person should consider before relocating.
Oh, Brett sad.
Usually these are columns written driving more people here. So this is the first time everybody in Austin was like, well, this is nice. And then we read it, and everybody in Austin was like, fuck Brett Adler. So I'm going to read it for you now. A lot of people, including myself, moved from California to Austin because of the hype and the perception that California and Austin are reasonably comparable in lifestyle. We found that to be far from the case.
Oh, God.
Here's what we learned, or 10 reasons why Austin is not the, quote, California of Texas. But first, what does Austin have in common with California? Austin, like California, is not affordable. The thing that California and Austin definitely have in common is that they're both very expensive. Austin is not cheap. Let the words sink in. Austin is not cheap. It's actually quite expensive. We moved from San Diego in 2015, owning a 2,000 square foot house on a 1/3 acre, looking for a boost in lifestyle. All right, I'm going to stop there for a second. You were living in San Diego, Brett, on a 2,000 square foot 2,000 square foot house on 1/3 of an acre in San Diego, immediately letting me know that I don't give a fuck about your problems.
Yeah.
You have enough money to where nothing you say, not a single, you could be like, I have brain cancer, and I'd be like, damn, Brett, big bummer. I don't give a fuck, Brett. Nobody gives a fuck about you if you have a 2,000 square foot house in San Diego on 1/3 of an acre and you're bitching about moving because you were looking for a boost in lifestyle. The rest, people got real problems, Brett. Real problems. All right, I'm going to continue. If you're looking for great schools, the southwest and northwest sectors of Austin are the main options. The only caveat is that northwest Austin, Travis County, it's the whole city, you dipshit, is some of the most expensive real estate in Texas. Okay? So we bought a 4,000 square foot house in Bee Cave. Holy shit!
Okay.
Okay, stop.
There we
Pause.
go.
Pause. 4,000 square feet.
Large house.
That is a house.
Yes.
In Bee Cave,
Yes. So
that is one of the more affluent and nice neighborhoods in Central Austin.
also double the size of the house that they moved from in California. Just let's go ahead and just point that out real quick.
And in one of the nicest neighborhoods in the city.
Yes.
4,000 square foot house in Bee Cave, an affluent suburb of Austin with great schools, he puts in quotes. We heard Austin was extremely hot, so we got a place with a pool. When you look at a 3D affordability map, these are the factors we discovered people are not taking into account. Taxes. We all know property taxes are high in Texas. They actually weren't that bad for us and ranged from 2 to 3% depending on the neighborhood. We bought a home at 2.1%, very low interest rate. I have a 4.75% interest rate right now for the example. With the homestead exception, we were paying at 1.79% versus 1.25% in California. Don't buy at 3%. You won't be able to sell your house, and your house won't appreciate. Sir, that is wildly inaccurate. I don't even know what he's talking about here. It's like he was like, I'm going to start this out by throwing some numbers that might confuse some folks into thinking, like, bro, it just sounds like you fucked up, Brett. Somewhere along the way, you fucked up. Because if you are bitching about these minute percentages in interest that you're paying on your mortgage for your home, it's like, what do we... Bro, you bought a 4,000 square foot house. The fuck are you talking... Get a smaller house then, Brett. Power. Energy is extremely expensive. You want a big house, and they're so cheap, but then it costs a fortune to heat and cool. Again, they're not cheap. And yes, You buy a 4,000 square foot house
It's
in
gonna
a
be
fucking city that is in the middle of Texas where we experience heat.
And it was like the hottest summer, like one of the hottest summers in a long time this summer.
Every summer is the hottest summer in a long time. Global fucking warming, Brett. Where the fuck have you been, Brett? Pay attention, you stupid bastard.
I'm imagining too. He's thinking that like his $2,000 heating and cooling bill is gonna be or 2,000 square foot heating and cooling bill is gonna be the exact same as like heating and cooling a house that's literally double the size, and he's like extremely confused.
Oh, just you wait.
His heating and air went up.
We were paying $400 per month during the summer and winter, and we were uncomfortable. Our thermostat was set to 79 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer and 65 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. To be comfortable would have cost us $700 to $1,000 per month.
Okay,
you
get a
bought
better...
a 4,000 square foot house, Brett. What is wrong with you?
Insulate your house better also. Like there's no reason that you should ever have to keep your house at 78 degrees in the summertime if you're living in bee caves. Get a better insulated house, bro.
Brett then went on to bitch about the water and how expensive the water is. It says services. We thought living in Texas stuff would be cheap, but with so many people moving to Austin, the service industry is in red hot demand. Expensive pool maintenance, expensive landscaping services, expensive home repairs, expensive dining and movies.
You live in bee caves, bro.
Travel. For reasons described below, most anyone who can leave Austin for a month or two during the summer to escape the heat does. That's expensive since to get anywhere interesting involves flying and hotel stays, budget another several $1,000s per year. Oh my God, Brett, you were the worst. Weather.
I hate
finally,
this guy.
key point, lifestyle. He says, although we doubled the size of our house and kitchen and yard, in parentheses, and kitchen and yard, Brett's almost just humble bragging his way through this entire thing. We felt more cramped and cooped up in Austin than San Diego or San Jose due to the bad weather and lack of public spaces. A 2,000 square foot house with a yard in Austin is cheap compared to the same house in San Diego, but offers nowhere close to the same lifestyle because your yard in San Diego is living space and in Austin, it's not. So I just want to clarify. Brett bought a house with a shit backyard, and he's upset.
Okay, what the fuck? First of all, Austin...
Again, wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, as somebody that just moved to Austin this summer, Austin has more open spaces than like any other city I've ever been to in my entire life.
Now,
it's one of the most open and natural cities I've ever lived in.
The Dixie Chicks song, Wide Open Spaces, was actually written about Austin. Now, here's the beauty of this column. We have not even gotten to his list, his top 10 list. We have not even approached it. We just now could and will, I guess. I'll just give you the look. You get the gist of it, right? If you read this entire thing, it's just Brett nonstop complaining.
It's just
Brett
like a made a bad decision.
Number one,
and hates his life.
No, he did. I don't even know. He made. It sounds like Brett made many bad decisions over the course of the first 35 years of his life. Number one, the weather. I'm not gonna read this. I don't. Look, if you can't research the weather of the city you're moving to beforehand, if that's your number one complaint after the fact, Brett. He's comparing the weather in Austin to San Jose and San Diego on the coast of California. Like, he's completely insane. Number two, no public land.
What? Zilker is like the biggest park I've ever seen in my life.
Soaring Sierra Nevadas, sandy beaches, public space canyons, and even trails along creeks are standard fare in the West. Not to mention Yosemite. Not so in Texas.
Barton Springs, Lady Bird Lake, Zilker Park. What's the overlook? Mount Bonnell.
Here you go. One
Lake
example.
Austin.
We drove 90 minutes to visit Enchanted Rock, a granite rock outcropping that would largely go unnoticed on the West Coast. We visited on a Saturday and met a 3-mile-long line of cars waiting to get in. Running out of gas, we grabbed lunch early at a nearby town and tried again later. No dice, the parking lot was full and closed. What did you do, Brett? Did you go on, like, Enchanted Rock Day or something? Because I went this past summer and none of that happened. None of it. None of it, except that it was incredibly uncomfortable.
He went on like the 4th of July, and he was like expecting it to be like nobody's out there or something like that.
He said,
a holiday weekend.
This is a place I went as a child, Christopher.
Yeah.
Like to learn about my state and enjoy the outdoors.
Sure.
He said, we've now christened the site Disenchanted Rock. 3 hours of driving and no hiking.
Got him!
Brett, you and your family should be flung into the abyss of space. Number 3, nowhere to go. Brett, it's an international pandemic, Brett. He said if you live in Austin, things don't change much in a huge 7-hour drive radius. Again,
it's Texas.
It's a state.
And
you could have researched this ahead of time.
That's still not true. Like, that's still just
7
false.
hours?
7 hours, dude? I can be in, like, the desert mountains of Texas in 7 hours. We live in the green, hilly country.
I can pick a direction, and in 7 hours, I can find you pretty much any climate in this
be in a different country in 7 hours, Brett!
Easy. Mexico is right there, Brett. you dumb bastard. 4, dishonesty. Now, this is where things take a very strange turn, if you weren't already there. I'm just going to read you the opening graph of the dishonesty section because I don't know how to...
graph?
Paragraph.
Oh, okay.
Think about integrity much? I didn't. I've worked with hundreds of companies and thousands of people in California. Sure, there are bad apples, but by and large, integrity is a default way to treat people here. It's not even something we talk about. Not so in Austin. First, it was the people we bought the home from. They lied about the cause of a leak, failed to disclose well water quality issues that made us sick, lied about how much stuff cost to repair, etc., but it didn't stop there. We hired a guy with a 5-star rating on Yelp to pull up a flooded carpet who completely and very obviously busted our closet doors while removing them and never said a word about the damage. Or whose carpet cleaner made a foot-long burn mark upstairs and left without a word. Or the mover, also 5 stars on Yelp, we hired who offered to help sell our leather sectional and $600 ping pong table and split the proceeds with us. We never heard back from him. We're not holding our breath. Brett, it sounds like your dumbass got robbed.
And they knew that you were idiot Californians moving to Austin. They took full advantage of it.
Everyone, Brett, everyone hates you, dude. This is what's happening. Let me explain something to you. You're terrible, and everything about you is not a quality that people look for in other humans.
Yeah.
So they have decided to turn their back on you and your shit family with your fucking pool and your 4,000 square foot house and your fucking sectional you're trying to get. A $600 ping pong table, son? What the fuck?
This is what happened, bro. They moved here, right? They start talking to these local Austinites that are helping them out, and they start just immediately talking shit about Austin 24/7, every bad thing that they've experienced from the second they got here, and every single one of them is just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, okay, then I'm just gonna, like, fuck you.
Look, generally, Texans are thought of as very nice people.
Yes, I've had it. Let me just say.
It's like an international reputation at this point. It's not like some shit like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to convince you. I could give a fuck what you think, frankly. But I've never heard somebody complain about the attitude and personalities of people in Texas compared to California, the weirdest, most disconnected and fucked up state in the history of states in any country.
If you put out good vibes, the people of Austin give you good vibes back.
Suck our dicks.
Like, yeah.
Number 5 is literally Yelp, which is a website on the internet and not
everywhere.
It's not an Austin thing.
Let's be honest here. The people that are writing reviews for Yelp are most of the time like
trash humans.
Yeah,
they're
or like,
complaining
mostly. They're older.
They're like Brett.
Yeah.
They're people like Brett.
They're the people like Brett. If you want to find good food in Austin, I'll tell you what to do. You get in your car, you drive around, you wait until you find a place that looks like the kind of food that you want for that day, and if it looks like a hole-in-the-wall spot that you've never seen before or never been to a place like it, I guarantee you the food's going to be excellent, and that shit is not going to be on Yelp. Brett just needs to get out of his house.
I just, like, ask people, I'm like, what's the best restaurants? And then
just
they'll
be like,
name them, and
yeah.
I'm like, dope. And I go try those, and then generally they're correct.
I've no joke yet to have bad food in Austin. I've had food that like I haven't enjoyed just because my personal taste preferences, but I've no joke. I've yet to have bad food. The
Look,
food in Austin is incredible.
This dude complaining about not being able to find food and not being able to use Yelp, he's unbelievable.
And also,
Number 6 is literally rudeness, Chris.
Like, that's just not true. Like,
Most Austinites are rude, he says.
That's just not true. They're probably rude to you because you're walking around in like a 3-piece suit driving a fucking like Mercedes AMG.
We met some amazing people in Austin, like my work colleagues in church congregation, and even bumped into Matthew McConaughey at our kids' flag football game. There are some very wonderful, friendly people, but we also met more than our fair share of the others. Hey, Brett, that's just humanity again. You're complaining about the other humans, which exist in every city. Like, Exhibit A was the dad, also at a kids' flag football game, wearing the Don't Move to Austin t-shirt, a play on Don't Mess with Texas. Let me get this straight. I uprooted my family, moved across 4 states, and that's the welcome I get? And the worst part of it all is that it's not even funny. There's a bumper sticker in the West. Montana sucks. Tell your friends. Same message, but with some humor. Yeah, we've got that, bro. Like,
what?
The joke's for us. Brett, the joke's not for you. You suck.
Brett's like, I moved to this new city, bro, and like nobody came and was like, dude, I'm so stoked you're here, dude. Like, Brett, thank fucking God you moved to Texas.
Hey, everybody.
Brett!
Let's get to the airport.
It's fucking Brett!
Brett's plane is landing. We gotta give him a grand welcome. Make sure we suck every one of his toes as he's getting off the fucking PJ that he's gonna fly down from California to get into his 4,000 square foot house with his pool. Brett, beat your own ass.
Also,
dude.
was Brett saying that Montana sucks is funny? Is he saying that there's humor to that bumper sticker? Because that also sucks,
Look,
Brett.
He loves the joke, Montana sucks, tell your friends, ! But he hates the joke,
Don't move to
don't
Austin.
move to Austin, which to me is funnier than the other one, but whatever. Number 7, a conservative dystopia. If you ask people from other parts of Texas, they'll say that Austin is not representative of all of Texas. That is probably true, but here are a number of messed up things about Travis County, Northwest Austin. Now he just has a list of the problems that he has with the city, and he's counting this as number 7 as a conservative dystopia. He gets into like natural gas, public schools, water again. He's already done water. Now it's reappearing on number 7. Number 8 is monoculture, which I have to Google. I'm just going to read you the beginning. I love getting to know people from other cultures. In California, we've had Vietnamese neighbors, Iranian neighbors, Filipinos, Palestinians. You name it, we love it. In parts of Texas, it's not just a monoculture, but a monoculture that doesn't seem to be aware of its own blandness. Think about it. Are you ready to have your son judged based on his suitability for a future career in football? Are you ready to network by attending the local high school football game with the guys? Because that's a thing in Texas. And not just that, the lack of openness to diverse ideas leaves you with the feeling that you've traveled 15 years back in time technologically moving there. They voted out Uber and Lyft and think that's not a big deal because, wait for it, they have a ride-sharing Facebook group. Yeah, that should be great for our out-of-town visitors. They also don't have a lot of the options we enjoyed in San Diego, like, quote, game-only soccer leagues, end quote, for friends. Don't know what they're for kids. Don't know what that means. I think it means no practicing, which sounds dumb as shit. The car washes were lame, period. That's just a sentence. You just couldn't trust things to be as well thought out and executed as in California way. Can't wait for this dude to get murdered in the street. Number 9, punitive militaristic schools and sports. I'm not reading this.
Also, let me just say, this dude moved to bee caves. He moved to he moved to a culture bubble. Like, that is intentional. It was built that way. That's how bee caves was built. Like, a lot of fucking tech people that move from California that have lots of money live in bee caves in Tarrytown. If you want diversity, don't move to bee caves.
I don't really get this confusion. This is like
everything that he has said has been brought on by himself.
By him. Yeah. Number 10 is cedar allergies. If there's one you didn't know was not his fault. There's a good chance you'll be sick the whole first year in Austin, being exposed to a new set of pathogens. This is very true and a fair argument. Yep. And it's the only point on his entire list that I will allow. Brett's one of the white people yelling, "I can't breathe." Number 11, big luxury home obsession. He said, I couldn't stop at 10. I'm guessing because of the lack of public land, terrible weather, etc., that Austinites get really into their houses. Yeah, that's only here. We're the people who invented being super into which home you live in.
Also, the weather
We saw some
is so
unbelievably
great.
ornate homes, castle-esque, and there's pressure to keep your house immaculate. You can buy a home that is really nice by California standards, parentheses, updated kitchen, crown moldings, in parentheses, only to find out that everyone else's house is much nicer than yours, which we didn't care about until we found that no one wanted to buy our less than luxurious home. Again, it sounds like you made a poor decision, you bought a shitty house
with a shitty backyard,
and now you're trying to sell it at a price that no one wants to pay. Moral of the story, here's his ending. It would take a lot of money to buy a California-like lifestyle in Austin. If you're moving to Austin, make sure it's because of the things that it offers. Quote, parentheses, downtown lifestyle, barbecue, football, live music, nice houses, and professional opportunity. End parentheses, that you won't miss the things you're leaving behind. Good weather, public spaces, etc. It was an expensive mistake.
He only has 2 things there?
But my family and I now see, and etc. My family and I now see California in a completely new light. We feel very fortunate to be living in the Bay Area.
Back, bro.
You're welcome. And then it says, Brett Adler is a sales executive working in the semiconductor industry based out of San Jose, California.
Oh, so he's making like $700,000 a year.
Whatever Brett's deal may be, this is one of the more poorly written, pathetic bitch fests I've ever read in my entire life, and I've worked on the internet for a full decade.